All right, earlier we did environmental changes and how man-made changes and natural changes can affect the environment. And now we're going to see, can we predict what would happen in certain man-made changes? So this is attached. We're going to glue this in. I have my coloring materials, which are my twistable crayons and my twistable colored pencils. The best thing I have ever bought. Besides flare pens, of course. I love my flare pens. Okay. So we're going to set this all up, ready to go. Okay. So an ecosystem, I am going to review that an ecosystem is a community of living and non-living things in their natural environment. I wrote that twice, so it must be important. The definition of change is to make different. So if I'm talking about environmental change, how does it make it different? A result is the effects of an action. And a prediction is like a hypothesis. To forecast the result or to take an educated guess. At the effects of one thing to another. What do you think is going to happen? All right, so I suggest you pause this right here, finish taking the notes, and then color this section. I will do the same, and I will be back momentarily. All right, there it is. So now we're going to focus down here. Can we predict outcomes? Yes, we can. We can make a prediction based on what we know on what has happened in the past and what types of animals live in there. We can make a prediction of what would happen. Okay, so the ecosystem we're going to talk about first is the ocean. Okay, so what happened? We're going to say that an oil spill happened in the ocean. Let's make a prediction. Okay, my prediction is that the oil, based on my background knowledge, oil is sticky and it is a chemical. And so it might stick to the animals or it might make them hard to breathe because they breathe through the water. So let's see the after effect impact. It is polluting the beaches. The water goes onto the beaches. It washes the oil on and off. The oil spill will kill fish because they're breathing in the oil instead of the water, and that's what they need to survive. Birds get sick and die. Their animals have the oil in their fur and it makes them sick as well. Birds cannot fly if they have oil in their feathers. This is positive for no one. There's no positive outcome for anybody, and it's negative for the ecosystem, humans, and the animals. So it's bad for everyone. Our next one is going to be a prairie. A prairie is like a grassland with open spaces. Let's see. What would happen if we brought an animal to a place where there's never been that animal before? Like it's not naturally occurring. So how about in 1890, they brought rabbits to Australia. And they were never in Australia before. So people that were moving there, they brought some rabbits, and then they started having families, the rabbits having families and more babies, and then they started to populate rabbits inside of Australia. We can make a prediction that if they're populating, there's going to be more rabbits. So what happens if there's more rabbits? They need more food. So that means that their food supply may be less than it was before they were there. So overgrazing, which means that they're eating too much, it kills the trees. They can eat the native plants. There's soil erosion. And then there could be more eagles because they are hunting the rabbits. So overgrazing means that they're eating too much grass. So if they're eating too much grass and taking the nutrients out of the area, it's going to kill the young trees. And they might actually be eating the young trees as well. They might eat the native plants. Once they're pulling all of the plants and everything out of the soil, it's going to start to have soil erosion because they're pulling the soil away. And there might be more eagles or predators in the area that are hunting the rabbits. This is positive for no one, except maybe the eagles. It's bad for the ecosystem. Eventually the rabbits are going to run out of food. It's bad for the rabbits. It's bad for the humans. And it's bad for others. Let me move that over so you can see that. Okay. Now the next one. Let me see if I can do some green. Let's do a forest. And they're making a highway in the area. So we talked about earlier what a road could do. A highway brings cars. Cars bring pollution. Trash. People throwing things out of their car window, trash. Oil leaking, the gas fumes, the emissions. There's a lot of things in addition to the effects of the construction. As it's used over and over again, there are many things that would happen. So that's my prediction. Okay. So a highway disturbs a natural ecosystem. All of a sudden, there's a road where the animals used to live. So it disrupts it a lot. It puts them in danger because they don't understand that it's a road and that they can get hurt or killed. So they try to cross it. And then it damages the ecosystem from the pollution, which in turn hurts the animals and plants and the water and everything in that area. This benefits no one, and it hurts the animals and the ecosystem. And then the last one we have is a coastal plain, which is an area that lives on the coast, like a lot of Florida. And we're going to say, how does a hurricane affect an ecosystem? Now, based on my background knowledge, we have flooding, winds, thunderstorms, things are knocked down, and a lot of other things that happen as a result of a hurricane, depending on how strong it is. Well, Hurricane Katrina was a pretty strong storm. It was the strongest until Laura. came through recently. So that's my prediction. We're going to say homes are flooded, especially if you're really close to the coast. We have broken trees and leaves. We have saltwater damage. A lot of plants and animals are not used to salt water. That can hurt a lot of plants, which in turn would hurt the animals because they don't have the plants that they need to eat. And then we have damaged trees, broken trees, floodwaters can carry away different things. The animals could get hurt in the floodwaters. So then the trees are broken, the saltwater damages the trees and the habitat. So then the animals can't eat and they die off, or they get hurt, or they have to leave, which in turn the animals that hunt them don't have them. So it really takes a toll on the entire ecosystem. Even especially humans when we have to leave our house because there's a storm coming. But not just that, we have to think about how it affects everything on Earth, not just us. So those are different ways that a change could affect or impact, and this isn't all of it. This is just a little bit that could happen as a result. There's a lot of other things that can happen as a result of an oil spill. There are a lot of other things that could happen as a result of highway construction or a hurricane or so forth. But these are just some things to give you an idea. All right, so I'm going to color my pages, and then that will be it for our environmental changes prediction or our examples. So now we know how an environment can change based on natural events, or, so this was natural, nope. This is natural, a natural change. The rest of them were a man-made change. Even though the rabbits are natural, the humans brought them over. So if they didn't bring it over, it wouldn't have had an effect. And if you notice, these are positive for no one. Every single one, not positive for anybody. Okay, well, there is our beautiful notes. Do you need to color it? Yes, I would say you need to color it because coloring helps us relax. In addition to, color helps us remember things. So if you color it, color really helps you remember things, and that's really important for science.